I was old enough to remember my dad casting a fishing pole and holding on to it while I did too, hoping my 5-year-old arms were strong enough to catch a fish so big it would make the local paper. My curiosity wondered how a boardwalk city could float on stilts, but I had no idea why we couldn't afford McDonald's on the pier when prices in town were cheaper. Seven Presidents Park was my favorite swing set, but I didn't know those historical figures once called my hometown a summer vacation. I was too young to understand that tourism is expensive, which is why we only went after hours. But I remember my first summer break from school starting with an explosion that locals still call an insurance claim. We stood so close I could feel the flame, hotter than the June sun. We watched as the pier buckled at the knees and debris fell into a saltwater graveyard. We watched as a decade of full moons drowned this city with the tide. I wasn't old enough to visit the haunted house before ghosts moved into vacant buildings. I didn't know what a crack epidemic was or why it lived in our now abandoned water park, but I understood enough to know that the beach wasn't safe anymore. When I was old enough to seek the truth, I dared myself to investigate, but still not wise enough to know what a syringe was or why they were washing ashore. Man, I had pockets full of quarters, and the arcade was the only place in town where kids could still be kids. But the beach is the first place that taught me how to fight, how to run, how to trust the strength of my adolescent muscles. I wasn't old enough to vote yet, but wise enough to know that politics had an agenda, crime was an excuse to use greed as motive, and eminent domain was the bulldozer. Money tightened its fists around waterfront property where generations of homeowners couldn't afford to fight back. I was smart enough to know that our home wasn't built on desired land, but filled enough cardboard boxes to know that strong arms aren't nearly as powerful as deep pockets. It's expensive to live in the land of the free. Tourism comes at a price, but syringes are still washing up on beaches. Fantasylands are built on top of old graveyards where nothing but a highway separates boarded up windows from vacation homes. And I dare you to cross that highway, to boost the economy on the side of town your mother still warns you about, to get your hair cut at the only business that still flashes an open sign amongst the haunted buildings that have more history than you have money. I fucking dare you to live in this city for longer than just a summer vacation.